How you approach finances in your 20s can have a massive impact on the rest of your life. But at the same time, your 20s are for making mistakes, right? I've definitely made my fair share when it comes to money, so I wanted to share mine so that you guys can learn from my mistakes. Thank you to Google Pixel for sponsoring a portion of this video. The first mistake was not actually investing the money in one of my retirement accounts. This is way more common than you would think. I opened a 401k when I was about 21 by the encouragement of some tax people I was working with. I really thought I was all good. I opened this retirement account. I'm ahead of the game here. But what I failed to realize is you need to go in there and actually pick a fund. It is not automatically done for you. It's a very painful lesson. I had that money in there for an entire year before I realized this, and I will never get that time back. In fact, I was actually charged a custodial fee of about $500 for keeping my money in there. So not only did I not make any return, but I also lost $500. Since then, of course, what I've done is gone in and actually invested that money. So this is very important, you guys. If you open any type of retirement account, just know you need to go in there and actually make sure the money is invested.
This next one, it's kind of embarrassing to admit, and we'll get into it, but first I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is
Google Pixel.
This is the Pixel 8 Pro. It has some pretty cool AI features and camera features. It's gonna help you be more productive, which in turn is gonna help your finances. My favorite feature is called Hold for Me. With this feature, Google Assistant will wait on the line for you, then it will let you know when it's time to talk. So you don't have to sit there for an hour listening to the same song over and over and over again. This makes it so much easier to cancel those pesky subscriptions that you have to call for, getting a hold of airlines, whatever it is. There's also a feature called Direct My Call, where when you call a business, it will show you all the menu options on the screen. So you don't have to listen through them all. You can just press where you want to go and you get there much quicker. Another really helpful one if you're taking a lot of videos is Audio Magic Eraser.
What this does is it analyzes the audio and then it reduces any distracting sounds like wind, cars, birds, anything like that. Here's an example of how it did it for my video.
For example, this street that I'm near, you can hear is super loud, but when I turn on the Audio Magic Eraser, it's way better, way clearer. You can barely hear that noise. It just sounds so much better.
That is so helpful if you vlog from your phone, a game changer. And the last feature I've been having a lot of fun with is the Magic Editor. The Magic Editor uses AI to reimagine your photos. You can change the sky, you can move things around, make them larger, make them smaller. You can even make it look like golden hour. So here's some photos, some before and afters where I've used the Magic Editor. This one is really fun to play around with. I love that all these features make it easier to get things done. So ultimately I can spend less time actually on my phone doing stuff. If you guys want to check out the Google Pixel 8 Pro, I will have it linked down below in the Google store. Thank you to Google Pixel for sponsoring this portion of the video. And now let's get on to the next mistake. So the next one, the kind of embarrassing one, I say that because I would never get suckered into this now, is buying a used car with a much higher interest rate than what was available at the time. When I was 20 years old, someone crashed into my car and I very quickly had to go get a new one. It was kind of a stressful situation. I just went to a dealership. They talked me into a nicer car than I initially went in there for, of course. And they also talked me into getting a 10.9% interest rate. Now, this was back in 2016, and interest rates around that time were only about 3.5%. So it's very possible that I could have gotten a even 4 or 5% interest rate had I gone to a credit union or my bank for a personal loan or an auto loan. But I didn't know to do that, and instead I went with the dealership's financial services, which was a total ripoff. They charged me 10%. And now with today's interest rates, that's kind of normal, but I could have gotten a much lower interest rate. The mistake was not shopping around for a better interest rate. I did very quickly pay off that car because I realized, what the heck am I doing? I remember the guy at the dealership tried to say, oh, it's better for your credit, like you need to have some debt to pay it off. You can build your credit, never actually paying interest. The dealership ended up making money off of both the car and the loan. And I quickly paid it off and never went back to that dealership again. This is your lesson. If you are shopping for a car, just buy one within your budget if you can. If you can just avoid a loan completely, that is very smart. But two, if you are going to get a loan, shop around. Don't just go with the dealership's rate because it's probably not going to be the best one. The next mistake might be controversial, and that is thinking I needed a financial advisor. The financial services industry wants you to think it's more complicated than it really really is. It's not that complicated. It's so easy to invest. This is a hill I'll die on. Anyone can do it on an app now. When I was in my earlier 20s, I was very intimidated by investing. I thought the financial advisors, they're smarter than me. They know something I don't. They really don't. Statistics show that over 90% of the time, simply investing in the S&P 500 beats the returns that any financial advisor could get you. So I actually still have my money with a financial advisor, and I am putting myself on blast here because it's a reminder that I need to leave. Like, I finally checked my return, and you guys, on average, and this is so unbelievable, it only made 2% per year on average. That's what it's at right now. Like, the market is down, but that is no excuse because the S&P 500 in the last 5 years is still up 64%. I lost out on making 64% in returns. This is definitely my biggest financial mistake, was putting my money with that financial advisor. Bigger than anything. Kind of unbelievable that it was that bad. And then they have the audacity to charge a 1% fee on top of it. The odds are stacked against you, actually, if you go with a financial advisor. Odds are you're gonna make less money that way, plus they're gonna charge you a fee. They typically take, and the one that I had took about 1%. The S&P 500, if you're not familiar, is just a fund that you can buy of the top 500 companies. It has a little piece of all of them, so it's considered generally low risk because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You're putting them quite literally in 500 different baskets. I do think it was a mistake. I think I would have made a lot more money if I just had the confidence to invest it myself. If I had simply just put it in the S&P 500, which takes like 3 clicks of a button more, I would have made tens of thousands of dollars more than what I did make. Let that be your lesson. Like, you do not need a financial advisor. Like, I need to get my money out of there. This is my reminder. You guys follow up with me, make sure I do it. Please, somebody hold me accountable because I gotta get my money out there. The next mistake I made, not a huge one, but a very common one, and that is selling stocks too early. This is a PSA to everyone who is unaware. You're taxed very differently depending on whether you hold a stock for 1 year or longer than 1 year. If you hold a stock for over a year, you are taxed at the long-term capital gains tax rate. But if it's under a year, you're taxed at the short-term capital gains tax rate. And there is a major difference in these tax rates. Here is a look at the tax rates for you guys to see. This is for a single person, but if you're married and you're filing jointly, it is a little bit different. Essentially, what you can see is you're taxed a lot less if you hold a stock for over a year. If it's under a year, you can be taxed as high as 37%. Whereas if it's over a year, it's never gonna be over 20%. Keep in mind, it's very dependent on your tax bracket. Where the difference gets quite high is if you're making above 180,000 a year. So the mistake I made was during COVID. Like a lot of people, I had fun buying and selling stocks, and I did make money doing it. I was swing trading. It was just kind of for fun, but I ended up paying a lot more in taxes than if I had just held for an entire year. And the kicker is, when I looked at the end of the year, as much as everything had gone up and down, at the end, it was still up. So I would have kept a lot more of the money had I just held it the whole time.
And the last mistake is not opening a credit card soon enough, but not for the reason that you think. It's not because of credit card points or something silly like that. The reason this one is a mistake is because it affects your credit score, which affects your interest rate when you go to buy a house, which affects your monthly mortgage payment. So your credit score is affected by a number of factors. How old your bank accounts are, how long you've had credit cards open for, any loans that you have. And currently, the average age of my credit says it's only 4 years, and I'm 28. So that's not great. I didn't open a personal credit card until 4 years ago. I know, what? I had business credit cards, but I would just use a debit card for personal expenses. I do wish I had just opened a personal credit card when I was 18, used it responsibly, fully paid off every month, everything like that, because my credit score would probably be higher. And I probably would have been able to get a slightly better interest rate on my house. When it comes to buying a house, your credit score actually is really important. It can be the difference of hundreds of dollars a month. If you have a really good credit score, you're gonna get a really good interest rate and you're gonna pay less money every month.
because you're gonna be paying less in interest overall. Over the course of the entire loan, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. I think it's really important to use credit cards responsibly. Never spend more than what you have. Always pay it off in full every month, which is what I do. I feel very comfortable having credit cards, so I do wish I had opened one sooner because I would probably have a better credit score. It is literally the only thing keeping my credit score where it's at. Like, if I look on the website, it's just because my average age of credit and all I can do is wait. So those are all of my financial mistakes. I really don't think any of them were too bad. I do wish I had just trusted myself more and not been intimidated by it as much as I was when I was younger, because it turns out my intuition was pretty right on. Sorry that I'm sick, you can probably hear it. Comment down below if you have any major financial mistakes that we could learn from you. Comment it down below. Okay, I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!